the collection started from the material. The material is cast iron. That means material and process. It's liquid metal, iron, cast into a mold. It's an old technique, in fact a very, very old technique, even dating back to the 5th century China, but it was really became popular as a material and process in the 18th century, probably. Early garden furniture, machine parts, and so on. So there's a kind of history to it, and also that creates a certain kind of typology, either very floral or very hard kind of edged machine aesthetic. Eugenio Perazzo, the founder of MAGIS, came up with this material and proposed it to me as a possibility. What if we use that for making furniture? What could we do? We made a visit to the factory, which is impressive. It's huge, loud, dirty, kind of hell on earth, and but very inspiring. And then we started a process of I guess learning a language, learning a new language, because I've never worked with this material before. You look at the history of that material. You look at, you know, what there is, what is the typical thing that this industry produces, and from that you draw your own conclusions, and sort of when it's really like I think the metaphor of learning a language is quite true, because you learn a language, you have vocabulary, grammar. You start to say things, simple things, more you copy things, and at one point you feel you are able to speak your own words in that language, and that's the point where we have to get to. We have to kind of learn the language to the extent that we are able to speak our own, say our own things with it, and it was really an intense project of trying out many different things, and we arrived here, which is now I would say a language which is not a completely new language. We're speaking the language of that material, so it's a language you recognize. But it's our chosen language for this material, and of course also a language of furniture, a language of very simple furniture, common constructions. The construction plays a role in this project of applying this material to I think a very common typology of making tables. That's where we got to now, presenting a first range of products here at the fair, and I know that we will do more in the next year, because we are by no means at the end of, we haven't said everything we wanted to say. I don't know, I think genius is a kind of, that, speaking about language, is not a word I would use ever, because genius is kind of something. Albert Einstein was a genius, but I think in this world we don't speak about genius. But good is already pretty. Yeah, I'd love to work on developing a bicycle. And again, I want to stress it. I'm not inventing a bicycle. If we do a bicycle, we try to do a good bicycle. It was a big surprise, of course, and a shock. And I think the shock is that you just realize how, after the death of someone like that, you begin to evaluate and in fact value her work in that case so much more than while she was alive. And you know, I remember that, you know, while she was alive and pouring out project after project after project, I was at a point of getting sick of it. I thought, Zara did, why another project? But now, tragically, she's dead, and you just realize that it was quite an amazing work that she did, and tragic she died. And tragic she died too young, because she was full of energy and at a point in her career where it was just happening. So it's, and you know, Zara is not. She's not my favorite architect, but you realize just how important as an architect she was, and as an architect, not as a woman architect. Also, I think that she was really one of the great architects of our time. But I think Kohlhaas is still would be my favorite attitude. Favorite, I don't know. It depends. Many, I think books have been extremely important in kind of my whole education, becoming a designer, still now being a designer. I probably the one thing that I constantly buy and keep on buying a lot is books, and I think it's there's not the one favorite book or the one. I do remember one of the first books that was a book that came out in Germany in the 80s. I was still in school, but beginning to have an interest in, I don't know, trying to find out what is it that I wanted to do after school. And it was the time of the 80s, and of course 80s design, and there was Memphis, of course. There was a strange German scene of 80s design, and a book written by Michael Erlhoff, professor in Cologne, who wrote this book about a certain trend of design in those years. Design als Gegenstand, that's the title of the book, and it was I guess an eye-opener in that way, that it really kind of contradicted all the kind of the academic definitions of what good design was. And I grew up in Germany. In Germany, we grow up with an idea of good design. Bauhaus, Ulmer Hochschule, die gute Form. There was really a set of values of what is good. And then came the 80s, and the 80s just destroyed all of that, and destroyed, but in a way not destructive, but opening up completely new possibilities. I don't know, the future.